Hello, grade 8 learner. Welcome to another video lesson in mathematics. In this video lesson, we will be discussing the definition of a linear inequality in two variables. This is based on the K-12 curriculum learning competency. The learner differentiates linear inequalities in two variables with linear equations in two variables. By the end of this lesson, you, the learner, should be able to identify a linear inequality in two variables, differentiate it with a linear equation in two variables, and to describe a situation using a linear inequality in two variables. It's another great day to learn, so prepare your pen, paper, and module as you start watching and learning from this video lesson. Happy learning! For this lesson, refer to your Quarter 2, Module 1 entitled Linear Inequalities in Two Variables. To represent the relations between two unequal quantities, we use a linear inequality in two variables. It can be written in four different forms. Ax plus by is less than c, ax plus by is greater than c, ax plus by is less than or equal to c, and ax plus by greater than or equal to c, where a, b, and c represent real numbers and a and b can't both be 0. To differentiate a linear inequality with a linear equation in two variables, we compare the forms that they are generally written in. As we have seen, linear inequalities can be written in four different forms, while linear equations can be written in just one form. The difference between these two algebraic expressions is that the linear inequalities make use of inequality symbols such as less than or greater than, while linear equations make use of the only equality symbol, which is the equal sign. Let us study an example. This is the fourth item in the activity Try This. In a month, the total amount the family spends for food, represented by F, and educational expenses, represented by X, is at least 10,000 pesos. To write a linear inequality that describes this situation, we observe. First, let us identify the two things or quantities that are being related to each other. In the problem, it is the food and educational expenses already represented by F and X respectively. Next, we read the problem to see how the two variables are related. The word total from this phrase means that the food and educational expenses will be added together. Finally, we identify what the two quantities are being compared to. The situation says that the total amount that the family spends should be at least 10,000 pesos, meaning the amount can be exactly 10,000 pesos or more. After observing keywords and relationships in the problem, we process what we know. We know that food and educational expenses are to be added together because we should get the total amount being spent by the family. We also know that the minimum total expense is 10,000 pesos, which means the amount can either be exactly 10,000 or more than 10,000. Because the quantities are related to an undefined amount, the situation describes an inequality between two quantities. Let us now solve for the statement that best describes this situation. First, we know that the two variables f and x are to be added together to represent the total amount of food and educational expenses. Next, we know that the minimum expense to be had is 10,000 pesos. Because the total expense should either be more than or equal to 10,000 pesos, the inequality symbol that we should use then is more than or equal to symbol. The resulting statement, f plus x is more than or equal to 10,000, is an inequality that describes this situation. Let us now state the conclusion of the problem. Given the situation, in a month, the total amount the family spends for food and educational expenses is at least 10,000 pesos. The linear inequality that best describes it is f plus x is greater than or equal to 10,000. And this ends our video lesson. I hope that you have learned something new today because, to quote the American businessman Malcolm Forbes, the main purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Keep on learning, dear learner, and we'll see you again in our next video lesson.